Hello everybody, I'm Melissa and welcome back to Book Bar and welcome to my November end of month wrap up. In the month of November, I read a total of 24 books. 13 of those were read in the first half of the month. So if you want to find out about those, I'll have it up above. But here are the 11 books that I read in the second half of the month. And the way I do this, if this is your first time watching a video of mine, a wrap-up of mine, I do them in the order of how I completed them, not necessarily how I started them. So, it's not like how I read them. It's just the way I completed them. So the first book that I finished in the second half of the month was The Will of the Many by James Islington. I don't know how you pronounce it. But this is a epic fantasy, like historical fantasy set during like the Roman Empire. And it follows a boy named Vis, and it's like a revenge story set at a school. There's all sorts of craziness that happens. It is probably one of the best fantasies, like just pure fantasies that I've ever read, and I had a great time with it, and I'm so excited for the next book. And I read it for a vlog where I tried to read outside of my comfort zone. I will have that up above, but I had a really good time with it. I enjoyed it, and yeah, I gave it 5 stars. Then I read After the Storm by Pavlov. Also talked about this in a vlog. This was in my November new release vlog, but I can talk about this forever. This is my new favorite Laura Pavlov book, probably one of my favorites of the year. This is Presley and Cage, and we know that Cage is a single dad. If you've read previous books in the series, you know that Cage is a single dad, and he had one that he let get away, and he's like never really dated, never had like any interest. He's the small town of Cottonwood Cove. He's their veterinarian, and so there's all sorts of like funny shenanigans with animals. And then of course we have Gracie, who is Cage's daughter, and her relationship with Presley is just adorable and perfect, and I was obsessed. Like, I cried, I laughed, I felt all of the feelings. Definitely like my new favorite Laura Pavlov book, possibly even like one of my favorite books of the year. Like, loved it so much. Then I finished Tame the Heart by Ava Hunter. This was Ruby and Charlie. Both of these books, actually, the hero is nicknamed Cowboy by the heroine. But this is the like epitome of grumpy sunshine. Ruby just wants to live her life. She has a heart condition that she's had forever. It's like a genetic heart condition. Her mom passed away from it. I think her grandma passed away from it. And she's like basically told she's not going to live for very long. Like, she's not going to live forever, which nobody lives forever, but she's not going to live to past, like, she doesn't think she's going to live past like her 20s. And she just wants to live. Like, she has a near-death experience at the beginning that has nothing to do with her heart. And she's like, you know what? Like, and so she just leaves her town that she's from and goes on a road trip across the United States, just working like odd jobs, doing like random, like working in bars, just doing all sorts of random things until she ends up in, I can't think of what the town is called, of Montana. And like, I don't remember the town name, but she ends up working at Runaway Ranch with Charlie. And Charlie is, right? I think his name's Charlie. Yeah. Charlie owns this ranch that he's lived at with, and he works on it with his brothers. That he has lived there since his fiance had died. Again, this isn't like the first 2 chapters that you learn this, or first 2 or 3 chapters that you learn this. It's not a spoiler. His fiance had died, and he like went to this ranch, and then his brothers followed, and they decided to run this ranch together. So but yeah, she like helps. There's some bad press going on with the ranch, and so she helps like run their social media to get them back. There is a little bit of like suspense going on because there is a big bad trying to come take over the town. And yeah, I had a great time with it. I gave it 4.5 stars. Then I finished Behind the Bars by Brittainy. This book broke my heart. I read this for my 5-star prediction vlog. I'll post it up above. This book, I'm pretty sure I cried from like 25% on. Like, I was just in tears, sobbing, blubbering mess reading this book. It was so freaking phenomenal. This is Jasmine and Elliot, and it's got a little bit of like told on like past and present. I mean, that happens like there's a time jump is what I meant to say. That's the word I was looking for. There's a time jump, and Jasmine and Elliot kind of had a thing in high school, and then Jasmine has to move away to London, and they like kind of keep in contact until something tragic happens to Elliot, and he like shuts her out completely, doesn't respond, nothing. And so now it's like years later, and she is back in town, and things might not be resolved the way that you think they are. And yeah, it's just so gorgeous. I loved this book so much. 5 stars if you didn't know. Then I read Just Like Mother by Anne Hetzle. I absolutely despised this book so much. I want to never speak of it again. I want to never think of it again. It is probably in my top 2 worst books ever. I didn't rate it on Goodreads because I didn't think it was fair, but my official rating is like 1.5 stars. I absolutely despised this book. Then I read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and this was delightful, but not exactly what I like was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good. It's set in space. The hero, only character really. I can't even think of his name. Ryland Grace or something like that was his name. And yeah, it was fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. I had a good time with it. It's not something I think I'll ever like want to reread or want to own or anything. It was a good time. I don't know that sci-fi is for me. Moving on. Then I read A Duchess by Midnight by Charis. This is one of her like fairy tale-ish retellings. This is kind of Cinderella, but from the stepsister Drusmina and Ian. And Drew wants to open her own like school to help young girls like get ready for seasons and everything. And she goes to help Ian, the Duke of Lachlan, or help his nieces. And yeah, it was cute. I couldn't tell you that much about it. Like, I legit don't remember what happens all that much, other than there is a part where she like goes out in the rain, like riding out in the rain, and something happens. But I gave it 3.5 stars. It was fun. But again, it's like nothing spectacular, nothing that I'm gonna remember probably past this wrap up. Then I read Love Under Starlight by Anna Patel. This was delightful. Small town in India. Grumpy heroine, sunshine hero. Roommates, so all the fun, forced proximity, like just absolutely amazingly cute. I read this for my new releases from November vlog, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I had a great time. It's Luke and Mira. And Luke he had like, in the first book, I'm assuming, which I didn't read, but he goes to this village in India and like sees the stepwell and is like intrigued by it and wants to write his like thesis on it and all that fun stuff. So he does. And he goes and like stays with Mira and like pays her like $500 a month to like live there. Like 500 American dollars, I think, which is like a ton of rupees. And so he goes and stays there, and things happen. She gives up her room for him, and then like he like ends up sleeping like outside with her, and it's just adorable. I loved it. 4.5 stars. Then I finished Outdrawn by Deeana Gray, also in my new release vlog. And this was a sapphic work rivals to lovers story. Black love, grumpy sunshine. Just like one of the heroines is like super into pink and color, and then the other one's all into black and moody, broody. Sage, the like moodier of the two, calls Noah pastel. It's adorable. I had a good time with it. I gave 4 stars. There were just some parts that were a little slow, but I really enjoyed it. And then the next book I finished was Caution to the Wind by Giana Darling. Giana had like come back. This book was supposed to come out like in March of 2022, and then her social media got hacked and things happened, and like so she just wasn't able to release it. And then like early, like not even that early, like I want to say like the 15th or something, she like came on and was like, she came back onto social media and was like, oh, this is releasing on the 28th. And so I picked it up pretty much as soon as I could. And this is May and Axeman. It's an age gap. Best friend's dad. Like, kind of, like, it's not a second chance because she was a teenager when, like, they split up. But, like, she had always, like, had a crush on him and been in love with him. Well, not always, but from, like, the time she was, like, 17 on, she'd been, like, in love with him. And then something happens, and they don't see each other for, like, 8 years, I want to say. 6 years? Something like that. There's been a time jump. And now she's back in his world, and it was a crazy time. I loved it. I give 5 stars. I'm so glad it was worth the wait. Had a great time. Then the last book I finished was King of Greed by Huang, and I loved this so much. Second chance is my favorite trope. And so anytime there's a second chance, and anytime, like, there's a my wife scene in this, like, so this is Dominic and Alessandra. And Alessandra and Dominic are supposed to go on their 10-year wedding anniversary trip to, like, DC, just to kind of, like, get back together. Like, things have been rough, and Alessandra's been feeling very, like, neglected. And Dominic forgets. And so Alessandra she leaves her wedding ring and walks out. And, like, she takes her bag that she was supposed to take with her to DC and just leaves. And Dominic comes home and he's like, well, where's my wife? Like, really upset. And she's like, I want a divorce. Like, you don't care about me at all anymore. Which isn't true. He does care about her. He loves her. He never once takes off his ring. The whole time they are separated, he never once takes off his wedding ring. She's, like, fully invested in the divorce. Fully, like, does not want to be with him. But this man, wants her so badly. And just wants to prove to her that he still loves her. And the love never went away. He just lost sight of what was important in life. He thought that he needed to just keep making money, make money, do all of the things that he needed to make millions and billions of dollars. But now he has more money than, like, he knows what to do with. But he's lost the love of his life. And I just, there was a part in this when I thought, like, things weren't, I mean, I knew it was a romance and I knew it would be happy, but, like, I thought there was a part where I didn't know how things were going to work out, but they did. And it was amazing. I loved it. 5 stars, if you couldn't tell. Absolutely adored this so much. Yeah, those are the 11 books that I read. I had a much, like, slower reading month, I felt like, than normal. I just had a lot of things going on. It was really busy with work. I was visiting family. Like, reading kind of took a back seat. And I think I, like, overdid it on, like, priority reads of, like, things that, like, I have to read this for this. I have to read this for this. I have to read this for this. And I don't love that. Like, I like doing, like, TBR Uno and, like, reading the books for TBR Uno. And I don't think I read any that weren't, A Duchess by Midnight was on TBR Uno. I think that was, like, the only one. So, yeah. I don't know. But, yes. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a rose emoji for King of Greed, the cover. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.